Joining us now from Tel Aviv is Ruthie Blum, senior contributing editor at Jewish News Syndicate and former advisor at the Office of Prime Minister Netanyahu. Ruthie, it's really difficult to get through this story. How is Israel reacting to these new details? And what does this young family mean to Israelis, in your view?
Well, as you can imagine, the whole country is not only in mourning, but enraged. However, I don't think any of us should be surprised given the extent of the atrocities on October 7th, 2023. And if we're talking about the Bibas family specifically, I think not enough is stressed about, for example, her parents, Shiri Bibas' parents, were both slaughtered on October 7th as she and her two babies were being abducted brutally into Gaza. And her husband was separately abducted. He was bleeding. He was schlepped off on a motorcycle. And there's famous footage of Shiri with the two boys. She's holding them in her arms, and she's being taken by Gaza civilians. And that's very important because there's constantly this distinction made between civilians and terrorists in Gaza. And I think that's got to stop, first of all. Second of all, we saw at the vile kind of ceremony that Hamas staged before returning the 4 coffins, a horrific ceremony. What we saw were droves of young children with Hamas and Islamic Jihad headbands, smiling, their parents traipsing them around to show them what a wonderful thing it is to kill Jews and how great it is to celebrate the martyrdom of terrorists who died in the process of killing Jews. So I think that their family has come to symbolize this horrible thing. Now, Yarden Bibas came home, as David Menser pointed out. He came home only a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. And he himself, during his captivity, there is a video of him. Hamas also tormented him. They didn't only physically torture him, but they tormented him by saying, "Ha, we killed your wife and children." Now, you never know when they say that if they're telling the truth. They did that to a lot of the hostages. But that's what I mean. They are cruel, sadistic. It's not only that they were holding hostages. They enjoyed the sadistic practices that they meted out on these poor, innocent people.
Yeah. And when you're confronted with such evil, it's upsetting. You can't help it. It's just a visceral reaction. You know, there was so much outrage over this revelation. Do you worry this could potentially lead to the collapse of the ceasefire deal?
Well, I wouldn't use the word worry because I'm hoping it leads to the collapse of the ceasefire deal, which is not a deal. It's a terrible deal. We had to do it because of our own humane moral values to get out as many hostages as we can, and hopefully all of them. But it really was the kind of blackmail that we should have been the ones blackmailing Hamas and not the other way around. The second phase of this deal, there's no way it can carry on as is written because the two sides are too far apart. Hamas does not want to cede its power in Gaza, and Israel cannot afford to have these evil forces along our border. We just can't, because they have vowed to commit the kind of October 7th massacre again and again and again, and they mean it.
Yeah, it's so difficult to hear these stories, but it's important to highlight them in so many ways. Ruthie Blum, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much.